Oscar, meine lieben Freunde, euer Nulio und herzlich willkommen zurück zu einem neuen Let's Play von Steins. Wir sind hier laut meines Wissens in der 10. Folge angelangt, meine lieben Freunde. Ja, schon Folge 10. Und letztes Mal sind wir auf eine andere Worte gekommen, wo Kagura sich erinnert hatte. Und es war so voll komisch und ich habe richtig Bock, Freunde, wie es jetzt weitergeht. Und wir gehen direkt rein. Let's go.
ところで、かがりちゃん、時間大丈夫？あ、いっけない。休憩時間終わってた。店長に怒られちゃう。
Ach, sie arbeitet jetzt bei Mr. Braun.
店長ということはバイトしてるのか？
Denke ich mal, bei Mr.
そ
Braun,
うだ
oder?
よ。下のブラウン管工房で。
Ja.
ってこの前言ったじゃん。
そうだったか。
In the world line, in the old world line, Kage had started working for Tenoji after the attack. That was another difference.
もう今日のオカリンさんはボケボケだね。しっかりしてよ。
すまない。
Kagiri hopped up and skipped out of the room. Her words and mannerism were much more childish than they'd been in the last word line. Ja, weil sie sich erinnert wieder, wie als das ein Kind war.
アルバイト頑張ってね。はーい、それじゃ行ってきまーす。
かがり戻る前にもう一つだけ聞かせてくれ。
I asked one final question to Kagari, who was now giving a crisp salute.
アマデウスという言葉を聞いて何か思い当たることはないか？
アマデウス？
Kagari seemed to think for a moment.
ごめん、わかんないや。
そうか。
She didn't look like she was lying or being sarcastic. She must really not have known. I watched her leave the lab, then took out my phone. There was another thing I needed to check. What was happening with Amadeus? Das existiert nicht, ja. I looked for the icon on my screen. Amadeus. The AI that held Maki's personality and memories. And the application which started the program. But the program was gone. Ja, Maho würde ich jetzt anrufen erstmal.
悪かったな。
Ja.
こんなところに呼び出して。
別に構わないわ。ちょうど近くまで来てたから。
After seeing the icon missing on my phone, I contacted Maho immediately. My goal, of course, was to see what was going on with Amadeus in this world. I had to find out.
で、話って？
Hat er überhaupt den Zugang bekommen zu Amadeus? Mal schauen. Ach so, nochmal, er kennt nichts eigentlich. Her eyes went wide. Her reaction surprised me as well. I simply said the word Amadeus.
あなた、どうして知ってるの？
どうしてってどういうことだ？
Ja, in dieser Wordline hat er den Zugang gar nicht. Er hat nie erzählt davon.
だって、あのプロジェクトは去年の夏、クリスの事件があったあの後に凍結されたのよ。
凍結された？アマデウスが？凍結ってことはつまりプロジェクト自体打ち切られたってことか？は
っきり言ってしまえばそういうことね。
Was? She clenched her fists in anger. It seemed the change in this wordline was a big one.
で、さっきの質問。どうしてあなたがアマデウスのことを知ってるの？
Andere Wordline, aber das kann er ja nicht sagen.
それは
Should I tell her about the word lines and attractor field theory?
クリスから聞いたんだよ。大学の先輩がそういう研究をしてるって。
クリスが？あの子、あなたにそんな話までしていたのね。
Lüge, aber ja. I decided that it wasn't the time to tell her. If I tried to explain everything, I'd have to tell her about D-mail and the time machine. Mao didn't seem to know about all that yet. I could imagine what she'd do if she heard the truth. She was yet another of those people, those, who were entranced by the possibilities of science.
なあ、アマデウスが凍
Those?
結され
Schreibt
た
gerne
っ
in
て
die
いう
Kommentare, was
話
richtig ist.
もう少し詳しく教えてくれないか。理由は何だったんだ？
なんでも外部団体からクレームが入ったんですって。人の記憶を人工知能に持たせるのは人間の複製を作り出すのと同じこと。神のみに許される所業だって。欧米って自分たちの価値観で物を言う人が多いのよね。特にそういうデリケートな部分は。
理由はそれだけなのか？
ええ、少なくとも私はそう聞いてるわ。いきなり研究は中止だって言われて、教授たち
Ja,
も
wahrscheinlich gab es doch irgendein anderes Ding, warum es so war. The Amadeus Program was stopped. Also auch ein Grund, warum es so war, vielleicht weil, ach Digga, was glaube ich da eigentlich? Es gibt vielleicht noch einen Grund, aber wir wissen ihn halt nicht. Oh, na fick, fuck, so. Okobe, there's something I want you to tell me. Shouldn't you ask your dad? You okay with asking me? Ask Mairi. Hä? Digga. You okay with asking me? Yes, I think you can give me good advice. I don't want you expecting too much. What kind of gift do you think a father would enjoy? Your father, huh? I think the darkness within him... What? Within him goes very deep. Huh? The darkness? Oh. You know, darkness, black. A black handkerchief? Maybe that would be a good idea. Maybe, yeah. A handkerchief. Great, I'll do that. But why black? I think your dad probably likes black. For real. Thank me. Thank you, Okabe. Okay. Did that have something to do with the word line change too? Wait. So how did I meet Mao? Ja, weil hat sie durch Amadeus getroffen. We'd originally met at the Amadeus seminar. If that never happened.
どうしたの？
いや、その思い出してたんだ。君と出会った時のことを。
ああ、あの時のこと。ああいう偶然ってあるのね。
Erzähl mehr. I asked a few more questions, taking care not to rouse her suspicions, and managed to learn the basic story. Huh, okay. Mao had really wanted to see the place where Coris had died. Radio Kalkan also. When she finally went to the radio building, she'd run into me.
オカルト的な考え方って大っ嫌いだけど、でもあなたと出会えたのはクリスが繋いでくれた縁なのかもしれないわね。
Karma, or perhaps another example of attractor field convergence. It had already been decided that Mao and I would meet here in Akihabara. But was there some meaning in that?
そうそう。マユリさんたちによろしく伝えておいてくれるかしら。昨日は楽しかったって。
ああ。
Evidently, she'd gone to last night's party in this world line too. Boah, das ist so interessant immer. kurz Pause vorne, wenn Okabe in eine neue Worldline kommt und dann lernen muss, was ist anders im Vergleich zu davor. Aber er muss natürlich auch was so machen, ohne Suspicions zu erregen, weil er will ja nicht allen erzählen, dass man Kyries wieder retten könnte. Die einzigen, die das wissen, sind Daru und Suzuha, glaube ich. Nur die beiden. Ja.
おかげで日本でのいい思い出ができたわ。
Das ist immer so interessant, wie er so sneaky die Informationen sammeln muss, ne?
言ったでしょ。私今クリスがやっていた研究を引き継いでるの。いつまでも日本でバカンス気分を堪能してるわけにもいかないのよ。
そうか。
But still, she was only in Japan for another 10 days. I hope nothing would happen during that time. Ja, warum hat er das gedacht, Digga? Jetzt wird irgendwas safe passieren. Amadeus had been shut down and no longer existed. No longer would I hear Kuri's voice. After I said goodbye to Mao, what that meant really started to sink in. I could still feel Kuri's warmth in my chest. Als ihr erst davor getroffen. Her smell. All the feelings I tried to forget were coming back. Now that I'd seen her. No one will ever be happy in that worldline. Everyone will be miserable. That's what she had said. I knew that. That's why I decided to stay here. But that didn't mean I could erase the sense of loss I felt. I went back to the lab to get all this together in my head. Leute, ich liebe Steins. The cause of the attack in the last worldline was Kagari. And there was a good chance that Amadeus was involved in the worldline change that took place afterward. Help me, Okabe, hat sie gesagt. Huh. But in this worldline, the lab had never been attacked. Yeah. And the Amadeus project had been cancelled while it was still in the research stage. That meant that two major factors in the events that had occurred so far no longer existed. Kagi erinnert sich und Amadeus existiert nicht. If they were gone, maybe there was no need to worry too much. I don't know, man. But even so, there was still a tiny alarm going off in the back of my mind. Why had Amadeus been shut down? What happened to Kagari's missing memories? Oh mein Gott, vielleicht ist Amadeus nicht Shutdown, aber also schon für die. Aber die haben es so geseized, kann man das nennt auf Deutsch, aber so genommen, sozusagen geklaut und selber gemacht, die Europäer und Amerikaner. Kann sein. Und Mao weiß es halt nicht, weil sie nicht oberste Etage ist, sozusagen. So, what happened to Kagari's missing memories? If nothing else, I might need to learn the answers to those two questions. Wo ist Susa und Daru immer noch, Freunde? I thought for a while and then took up my phone and booted up the Ryan application. Weil vielleicht auch irgendetwas anderes, warum Susa back kam oder so. Man weiß ja nicht. Oh, wir gehen in Kagaris Perspektive. Jetzt sehen wir ihre Gedanken und so. Kagari Shinya felt happier and more fulfilled than the people around her thought she was. Her memories were missing. All she had now were memories of when she was young. She'd gone to the past when she was 10 and then gotten separated from Suzuha. Her memories afterward were a total blank, with the exception of the last few weeks. Her oldest memories after her childhood were of the ceiling she saw when she woke up. Wie bei Eva, Freunde? It was the ceiling of an old temple with stains here and there that looked like faces. She remembered being a little scared. Shortly after that, She was given to Yanabayashi Shrine.
かがりさん、お茶飲みますか？あ、うん。ありがとう、ルカ君。じゃあ、入れますね。
That was when she'd met Luca Urushibara. At the time, she hadn't realized that she already knew him. Luca Urushibara was a good friend of her adopted mother, Maori Shina. Ja, aber wann hat sie die Erinnerung zurückbekommen und wie? War es einfach so von einem Tag auf anderen? Das will ich auch gerne wissen. Naja. He played with her a lot when they were kids. When she was younger, she'd always thought he was a woman. To Kagari's young eyes, he'd been a strong, grown-up woman. At the time, she'd always wondered why Suzuha had called him Big Brother Luca.
はい、どうぞ。ありがとう。
But the Luca in front of her now was far younger than the one she had known. He looked like a very pretty girl, and not nearly as strong. So she'd only realized that he was the Luca Uru Shibara she knew after meeting her mother.
この紅茶、なんだか変わった味がする。ローズマリーティー。集中力や記憶力が上がるって聞いて、フェイリスさんに分けてもらったんです。
Improving your memory and finding lost memories seemed like totally different things to her, but she didn't say so. Just the thought made her very happy. Luca, Mama, Mayuri, and the rest of Okabe's friends were all trying to help her get memories back. It would probably make most people nervous not having their memories. It would be hard not knowing what you'd experience. But to be honest, Kagari didn't think she needed to remember. Sometimes it seemed like a memory was about to come back. Each time her mind would roar with a sense of fear and anxiety. Okay.
もしかして美味しくなかったですか？
Luca saw that she'd only taken a sip and stopped, and he seemed worried.
そんなことない。美味しいよ。ただちょっと考え事をしてただけ。考え事？そう。でも大したことないんだ。
She took a sip of the tea, hoping to change the subject. Ja, Freunde, immer stay hydrated. Deswegen ich auch am Trinken, Freunde.
本当に男の子？
Everyone else said he was. But still, it just didn't seem right to her.
そうですけど。やっぱりどう見ても女の子にしか見えないよね。そんなこと言われても。そうだ。ねえ、明日一緒にお風呂入ってみる？そうすればルカ君が本当に男の子なのかどうかわかるでしょ？ダメですよ、そんなの。どうして？だってそんなの。だって女の人と一緒にお風呂なんてそんな。お姉さんとは一緒に入ってなかったの？入ってましたけど、それは小さい頃の話で。
Villain.
かがりさん？ごめんごめん、冗談だよ冗談。ルカ君が可愛いからついからかっちゃった。そんな。でもそういう反応を見せるってことは やっぱり男の子なんだね。最初からそうだって言ってるじゃないですか。
Even when he was upset, he still looked like a girl, she thought.
ご覧のようにこちらのお店では数十種類にも及ぶ食べ物が全部食べ放題なんです。
Aua. The TV screen had been showing all kinds of delicious food.
すごいな。
The sight of it almost moved her to tears.
今の時代ってすごいよね。私の知ってる未来とは大違い。そうなんですか？未来の世界ってどんな感じなんです？知りたい？
Luca looked a little uncertain. Even though she'd asked, Kagri wasn't certain she should tell him. The future she knew was filled with despair. Everyone struggled desperately to stay alive, hoping that tomorrow would somehow be better. If they knew there was no hope, how would they survive?
やっぱりやめておきます。
Kagri sighed in relief.
その方がいいよ。だって未来は変えられるものだから。未来は変えられる？
Das hast darüber gesagt,
ママ
oder?
がね、
Ah,
そう言っ
Mom.
てた。きっと変えられる。変えてくれるって。変えてくれる。
That's what Mayuri had always taught Kagari. That was a tiny light of hope.
なんだっけな。シュタイン、
Oh,
なんとかって。
Steins.
シュタインズゲートですか？そう、それは必ずあるってママは言ってた。
Ja,
って言いながら、それが何なのか私もよくわからないんだけど。
Steins Gate is real. Steins Gate. To be honest, Kagari didn't know exactly what that meant. But each time Mayuri said it, Kagari had felt warmth in her heart. Someone would come to lead them to Steins Gate. When she thought about that, it gave her hope. Junge, Okabe ist der Moses.
さて、それでは次の
Fühlt
特
sich
集
zu
です。
Steins Gate.
今世界で記憶の再生技術に関する研究が進められているのはご存知でしょうか。今日はその最先端を走るあるアメリカの大学の特集です。
The news show had finished its food report and had already switched to another topic. Now it was showing a college campus covered in greenery. It was a wide open space that clearly wasn't Japanese. The second she saw it, she suddenly felt dizzy.
こちらはビクトル・コンドリア大学。一見普通のキャンパスに見えるこの大学。しかし、この学内では今、ある大きなプロジェクトが進められています。
Okay. The discussion became more and more technical. It was far beyond what Kagiri, who had only her memories as a child, could understand. But
チャンネル変えましょうか。あ、待って。
Kagiri stopped him before he could get to the remote.
かがりさん、わかるんですか？うん。脳の構造、記憶を捏造することはできるかっていう話。 すごいですね。僕には難しくて何が何だか。
She suddenly found herself easily understanding what was being said. Why? How? How could she understand this?
そう、そんなに難しい話じゃないよ。記憶は脳の中の海馬っていうところが司ってるんだけど、その中に視上界って呼ばれるところがあるのね。
Pastia din tata. She was surprised at what she was saying, but the words kept coming anyway.
そこで行われる神経細胞の生産が既存の神経回路の再編を引き起こすの。それによって記憶の忘却が誘発されるんだ。で、この研究チームがマウス実験をしてみたら、記憶の捏造が見られたっていう話。あ、ほら、あの奥の部屋、あそこでマウス実験なんかをしてるの。かがりさん、もしかしてこの大学知ってるんですか？
Stimmt, sie war da. Sie muss da gewesen sein. She suddenly realized that Luca was looking confused. Weil sie hat gedacht, da hinten haben die Experimente gemacht. Woher würde die das sonst
なん
wissen?
だか
Ja?
詳しそうな口ぶりでしたし。
Oder? The TV was showing something that looked like a lab. The camera went forward. Nee, ich kann nicht lesen, Digga. The camera went toward the back of the room. A white door was opened that led to the next room.
この部屋で行われたマウスを使った実験。それによって研究チームは
Ho ho.
知らない。
Ai ai ai.
でも今
That's right, she wasn't familiar with it. She didn't know anything about any place like this. But
わからない、知らないけど、なんでだろう。さっきは知ってるような気がしたの。
huh, there was suddenly a piercing pain in the back of her head. It felt like the beginning of something terrifying. She suddenly felt very nervous. Wieder back zu Okabe.
いいか、おめえの頼みを聞いてやるわけじゃねえ。それだけは忘れるんじゃねえぞ。
Was hat er ihm gesagt? Hm? This morning I'd gone to Tenoji and asked him to protect Kagari if something happened. That meant I had to talk to him about his role as a rounder. Again. And I had to tell him that Kagari was caught up in something big too. But since this was the second time I had that conversation, I was able to make it go a little smoother. That was only relative to the first time, though. I never wanted to ask him for anything like this ever again.
おい、岡部。おめえら一体何に関わってやがる？
それは
I stopped myself.
話せねえってか。頼み事するだけして随分と虫のいい話だな。
すみません。
だがそれでいい。
え？
情報ってのは最後の切り札だ。そこでペラペラ喋っちまうようなら俺は降りてたぜ。
Oh, gut, dass er jetzt nicht gesagt hat an ihm.
せいぜい気をつけるんだな。
ありがとうございます。
わかったから。そうやってかしこまんな。どうにもやりにくくてしょうがねえ。
I bowed to him once more anyway, and left the brown workshop. Mr. Brown. I'd managed to get Tenoji's help. And this morning I'd gotten another person on my side as well. Moe Kakiryu. She was a lot easier than Tenoji. I'd checked with Daru last night and found that just like in the old world line, we'd hired her to find out more about Kagari. Was ist aber noch mit Susua? Digga. All I had to do was ask her to keep looking into what Kagari had been doing before she'd come to this town. Now I'd done everything I could in case something happened. All that was left was to pray that nothing did. I got back to the lab, where Lukako was waiting. He had a very serious look on his face, and he said he needed to talk to me.
実はかがりさんの記憶のことで気になることがあって。
かがりの？
とは言っても、これが記憶を取り戻すことにつながるかどうかはわからないんですけど。
構わない。気になることがあるなら話してくれ。
はい。
Luca started to fidget and rub his knees together. Then he looked up at me and slowly opened his mouth.
ゆうべテレビで記憶の研究についての特集をやっていて、アメリカの大学で行われているものだったんですけど、それを見ていたかがりさんがまるでその学校を知っているような口ぶりだったんです。
アメリカの大学？どこの大学だ？
なんだか難しい名前の学校で、確かビクトル・コンドル？
Victor.
ビクトル・コンドリア大学か？
あ、そうです。
Ist das nicht da, wo Mao ist? Oder auch wo Curis war? Mitochondria University. That was where Curis had studied. Yeah, Curis und auch Mao, I guess. Kagari knew mitochondria. If that was true, then how? The most obvious possibility was that she went there too. But how would a kid who went missing in Japan go to an American school? And one of the best at that. They were kidnapped, bro. Obviously. Also wird entführt. Of course it wasn't possible, but...
どうでしょう。何か
It wasn't impossible,
手が
but...
かりになりそうでしょうか。
Falsch gelesen, ja.
さすがにそれだけじゃ何とも言えないが。
そうですか。
Lukako's shoulders slumped in disappointment.
でも手がかりにならないというわけじゃない。
それじゃあ。
ああ、確かめてみる必要はあるな。
Ah, okay.
改まってお話って何かな？
The best way to find out was to talk to her directly. Kagari was just about to start work, and she seemed put off by the fact that I'd suddenly asked to speak to her.
話はちょっと待ってくれるか？もう一人呼んであるんだ。
もう一人？
Mayuri? Oder... wer? Ah, Mao. I didn't know a lot about Victoria Condria myself. I could ask Kagari what she knew about the school, but I couldn't tell if the information was accurate or not. There was a better person she could ask. Someone who should be here any minute. Mao. 100% Mao. Also, kann man sonst. Ja. The best way to find out about the school was to ask someone who actually went there. In fact, Mao was, to this day, a part of the brain science lab. Very interesting, very interesting. Konnichiwa!
元気？
Mao still didn't know that Kagari was from the future. Ach so, lol. I'd have to keep her from finding out.
それにしても本当にクリスに似てるわよね。
Mao stared at Kagari, then whispered so that only I could hear. It made sense. I've been surprised myself. I started by explaining to Aho why I'd brought her here.
じゃあ何？つまり彼女がうちの学校にいたかもしれないっていうの？
Yes, I am!
そんなこと言われても私、なんとかトルコドリア大学なんて知らないよ。
Condor Wits Plays, what the fuck, egal. Freunde, an der Stelle würde ich sagen, beenden wir dieses Let's Play. Und nächstes Mal ist das Gespräch zwischen Mao und ihr, was davon von ihren Informationen die Kage irgendwie im Kopf hat, von dieser Victor Condria University, ob das true ist oder nicht. Und ja, checkt gerne andere Videos, Let's Plays, kaum Playlists und Streams ab, wenn ihr magt. Schreibt gerne in die Kommentare, wie euch das Video gefallen hat. Und damit würde ich sagen, Wiederschauen, Freunde. Und reingehauen. Bye, bye.